How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Bitcoin has been falling overnight. I want to give you an update for what's happening right now, what people are worried about, and whether this is something to be worried about, because we are seeing a higher low. We are seeing something that looks a bit like a head and shoulders. That's what the bears will say. We're seeing a small peak here, a higher peak, then a lower peak, typically bearish. But should we be worried? Let's talk about it. If you don't mind, hit subscribe. Turn on that bell notification underneath the video so you can see future videos like this as soon as I make them. This is not supposed to be bearish, really. It's not supposed to be FUD. It's supposed to give you the information you need when you wake up or throughout your day to make an informed decision on what you want to do next in the crypto market. That might be nothing, but I need to cover both sides of the story here. And if you do want to trade this market, there's a link to MargX underneath the video where you can go long or you can go short. If you think the market's going to go down, you can bet against the market. And it's not really easy to do that unless you have a platform that allows you to short the market. So there's a link to MargX underneath the video. They're also unveiling spot trading. So I've heard this week. There's also a link down there to CoinW in case you want to start trading right now, whether it's futures or spot. You can trade on CoinW as well, and they have even more assets than MargX. Now, I will apologize. My voice is a little bit weird today. I think it's because I just woke up. It's real early here. But let's take a look at what happened. So Bitcoin is down at 66,000. Big drop on the daily here. Now, we had outflows from the ETFs. I think people don't like to see that, obviously, because we saw a bit of a drop throughout the day yesterday, but it got swallowed up. We went pretty much back to $70,000 Bitcoin, and then we fell down after this was announced. We had 88 million flowing out of the ETFs due to 303 million flowing out from GBTC. We had slow days from a lot of the ETFs as well. With the IBIT, somewhere around 160 million, but then Fidelity had a slow day, ARKB had a slow day, a lot of other ETFs didn't do that well. So we had a bit of a liquidation cascade. This is what happens. The whales, we've talked about this many times before, they want to manipulate the market. They want to make people scared. They want to capitulate them. So they start selling a little bit, it causes a lot of longs to be liquidated, which forces down the price, and then they buy back in. Now, what has happened in the past around halvings? Let's take a look at that. So November 28, 2012. You can see here, right ahead of that date, we saw two flushes. Bitcoin went from $16 down to $7, so over 50% correction, and then 13 to 9. So a couple big moves there ahead of that halving. Now let's look at July 9, 2016. In April, we saw a move from about 470 down to 392. So about a 20% move, and we had multiple of those moves right around then. We went from 780 all the way down after the halving to 470. We saw about a 40% move to the downside. And there are some days where we saw the majority of that movement. You can see this flush where we went from 780 to 540 just in a few days. So there's a massive move there ahead of that halving. Now let's look at May 11. The days ahead of the halving, we saw a 20% drop. But even before that, we saw a drop from 10,500 all the way down to 3,800. I mean, we're talking about a, 60-something% drop a few days before the halving. So we've seen massive drops ahead of every single halving. Now, do I think we're going to have one right now? No. But would I be surprised if we went into the upper 50s, lower 50s? No, not really either. I don't think we're going to have that happen because we have too much demand out there. We have so much buying. And I'll show you that here in a second. But think about this. Right now, we've fallen from 73,000 down to about 60,000. We did that a few days ago. We're not at 60,000 now. But think about how bullish that is, that we're seeing just that small 18% compared to some of the 20%, 60% that we've seen in the past. Like, the fact is, we are heading into a time where we're seeing shallower and shallower dips. There's more and more entities buying, or there are more and more entities buying, there are more countries buying, there are more people buying, and they just get itchy to get some more Bitcoin much faster than they have in the past. So if we see a 15-20% dip and that's it, that's extremely bullish moving forward. If you haven't seen the video last night that I posted on Plan B and some of his predictions, go check that out. I'll put it on the end screen. It's really interesting. But financial planning firm Burkitt Financial Services reported owning 602 shares of BlackRock ETF. This isn't a big amount. To be clear, I think I hold more than this. BlackRock costs like, $40 or something. But this shows another company, another financial services company starting to buy the ETFs. We're going to have hundreds of these companies, thousands of these companies that start to buy these assets. They start to allocate towards it. We're also seeing economic expansion for the first time in a while. After 16 months of economic contraction in the manufacturing sector, yesterday morning's ISM manufacturing PMI showed economic expansion. So this was a reading of 50.3, which actually represents expansion versus the previous 16 months of just contraction, under 50. That's bullish, right? This is the highest number since September 2022. And we continue to see more and more Bitcoin taken off exchanges. Another 16K worth of Bitcoin, $1.2 billion worth of Bitcoin taken off Coinbase. This was 2 days ago. And yeah, this is the lowest that we've seen in a very long time. The total, 1.755 million Bitcoin on exchanges. So some people might say, okay, that's great. People are taking Bitcoin off exchanges. Why are we still falling down? Like I said, we can see whales push down the price pretty significantly. Yesterday, I showed a wallet that sold 6,500 Bitcoin, right? So you can still see a whale push down the market. You go and sell 6,000 Bitcoin on Coinbase. It's going to push down the market. It's going to cause some liquidations. Now, that's not the entire thing. That's not the entire picture for what's happening right now. The last 2 days, we've seen Asian markets really push down the market, kind of flush out the market. But if you can make some holders capitulate, they're going to do that, right? They're going to continue to scare the market. But it's kind of like holding a water balloon underwater, right? Or, an air balloon, just a balloon filled with air underwater. Like, you can push it down, but eventually it's going to pop back up. And that's kind of where I think we are right now. Yes, we could see some more red, but I'm not getting out of the best asset, the hardest asset of all time before something fundamentally bullish. And right after we had something that really changes the market. Right? These ETFs, even though we may see some days of red, they're fundamentally bullish. They bring in billions and billions of dollars of capital. We're still up a lot from when they were approved, and this asset can move very quickly. So if you're bearish, right, just keep in mind that we can go from 26,000 up to 73,000 in under a year. That's like 6 months worth of time. So we can have something that goes up 3x. Well, then we can definitely have something that pulls back 20%. That's completely normal. What you don't want to be is someone that's forced out of your position or scared out of your position, capitulated out of your position before the Fed starts to lower rates, before the halving, before the next bull market. So be ready. Be ready to hold onto your positions. Be ready for some of the whales to try to shake you out. Maybe put in a slightly lower low, something that will scare you, something that will flip Twitter bearish, and then we'll flip back. We'll probably flip back bullish when the most people are bearish. That's what typically happens. Let me know your thoughts on all this underneath the video, though. I appreciate you watching. Again, just trying to give you an update for what's happening in the market. I think that we will be fine long term, but you have to keep a level head. If you do want to trade, there's a link to Margex and to CoinW underneath the video. Of course, make sure you do your own due diligence when leverage trading. I appreciate it. I'll see you in the next video.